everyone, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog, or welcome if you are new. My name is Tonya, and for this week's vlog I thought it'd be fun to use a random number generator to figure out how many pages a day that I was gonna read. And the book that I'm currently reading is The Iron King, and that is by Julie Kagawa. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it is spelled K-A-G-A-W-A. And this is part of the Iron Fae series, which is a young adult fantasy series. And I'm only about 16% of the way in, so I just started it. So we're gonna kind of see how it goes for this one. I didn't know much about it, but so far it's good. And we'll just kind of see how it goes from here. But I have a little random number generator here, and 24 is just what was up there. So for today, well, that's not very many. Does it let me put a range in? Let's see. It does indeed let me put a range in, because it came up with 12, and I'm quite sure 12 is not enough reading for one day. At least it's not what I usually read. So I'm gonna do in between 50 and 200, and we'll kind of just see how it goes from there. So for today, I am going to read 127 pages, which should be doable. I probably read around 100 pages a day anyway, so that is a little bit more, but that's okay. I never complain about reading more, so we can definitely get the 127 pages in. We may make it through a couple of books this week. I'm going to be doing this vlog from today, which is Monday, through Friday, so however far we get. But this first book, I think it's only like 350, 400 pages. So I imagine that we're going to get through it and at least get started on another one. So yeah, I just got home from work. I put on my comfy clothes and I'm going to get ready to take Luna for a walk, have some dinner, and then we will get started reading. So probably the next time you see me, I will be much sweatier because it is quite warm out today. So I am sure after our walk, I will be slightly drenched. So I will check back in with you later. So it was indeed hot out there, but I thought I'd also share, I'm not gonna use this audiobook with the to count towards my pages, but I am also listening to, if it'll focus, The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel Jensen. And I've got about 6 hours left in the book. And right now, I would say it's probably like a 3.5 to 3.75 stars. So good, narrator's good, but I wouldn't say it's like anything great or outstanding. But so far I would recommend. We are following Laura, who is a princess, and in her particular kingdom, her father, the king, took all of her sisters from his many different consorts, harems, all the females he had relationships with. And he's been training them as kind of like spies or assassins, so that because of this marriage treaty, whoever is the strongest of his daughters, he is going to send to marry the king of Ithaconia. And while she's there, she's supposed to gather information on how this country can be invaded, you know, and not necessarily to assassinate the king, at least not initially, but to gather information for an invasion. So Laura ends up being the sister that is sent, and she's now on her mission to kind of try to find things out so that she can send them back to her father, not because she loves her father, but it's, you know, because she loves her homeland and she wants her people to be in better shape. Now, I'm pretty sure her people aren't in good shape because the king's an asshole, but Laura is not aware of the fact that maybe her father has been withholding resources from her people. She thinks it's all the Ithacanians controlling this trade bridge. So that's kind of where the story is. So far, pretty good. Narration is good, and we'll kind of see how the plot plays out from here. Hopefully Laura won't be super naive for long. Hopefully she'll catch on to the fact that maybe her father's been mistreating these people, but we'll see. You know, they're trying to have that tension right now, that enemies to lovers thing that could end up getting old if you know, she kind of holds on to this notion for too long, but hopefully, you know, that's something she's gonna let go of and the plot can evolve from there. But now I'm gonna take the chance to cool off and have some dinner, and then we'll get started with reading The Iron King. All right, so I am currently on page 71 of 420. So because my brain is not mathing currently, that means if we're gonna do 127 pages today, that we need to read to page 198. So that should be pretty doable. I'm just gonna get up here on the couch and get cozy and read for a while. I may switch off to my bedroom at some point, but for now, I'm gonna just sit back on the couch and start reading. Good morning, guys. So I wanted to go ahead and give you an update on Iron Fae, or that's the name of the series. Iron King was the book that I was currently reading. I did read my 127 pages, but I'm going to go ahead and DNF it. The story itself isn't bad. We're following Megan, who is immortal, and she has been living with her family in the mortal world, so with her mother, her stepfather, and her half-brother, and she just turned 16, and things kind of all go awry on her birthday. It ends up her half-brother, who is 4 years old, is a changeling. Her mother ends up getting hurt by this changeling, and she actually finds out that her best friend Robbie is not what he had appeared to be. He is one of the Fae, and he ends up helping take her to what is called the Never Never, which is under hell, and they go in search of her brother, who, like I said, has been snatched and a changeling left in his place. So the story itself is pretty good. The writing itself is good, but it reads more, I would say, middle grade than young adult. So it's just a little bit too young for me, so I decided after I gave it a go with those 127 pages to move on. So once I get home from work tonight, we will pick a new book to start. Alright guys, so I have wrapped up my work day, and I did take Luna out for a walk, hence my somewhat sweaty appearance. It is kind of thunderstorming off and on, so the lighting's not great, but that is okay. We will carry on anyway. So as I had mentioned, I did end up DNFing the Iron King, so gonna be selecting a new book, and it just so happens that I got a lot of book mail today, so I am going to be reading one of these books. So I got 3 different ones. 2 of these I had pre-ordered, and one I just picked up because I thought it looked good. So I got the Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. And this is a cozy fantasy. It's in the same world as The Spell Shop. So looking forward to reading this at whatever point I need a little cozy fantasy book in my life. But yeah, really like the sprayed edges on that one, and I think it'll be, you know, a nice little read for when I don't want something too intense. And then I also picked up, and this one's not a fantasy, so it is outside of what I normally read, but I've seen a couple people read this one. It's more of a, like a paranormal, I guess you would say, book. But it's the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And I thought that one had looked really good. I've seen a couple of people read it and give it great reviews, so you know, I love me a good vampire book, so thought I'd give it a try. I haven't read anything by this author, but yeah, it sounds like kind of a fun premise. And just a little blurb from the inside cover. Patricia Campbell's life has never felt smaller. Her husband is a workaholic. Her teenage kids have lives of their own. Her senile mother-in-law needs constant care, and she's always a step behind on her endless to-do list. The only thing keeping her sane is her book club, a close-knit group of Charleston women united by their love of true crime. Then James Harris walks into her life during the summer of 1993. He makes her feel things that she hasn't felt in years. But when children on the other side of town go missing, Patricia wonders if he's connected. Is he a Brad Pitt, a Bundy, or something much worse? So yeah, I just thought this sounded really fun. I've read quite a few YAs recently, and they just all had felt really kind of young to me. So this one, it was nice. It's an older group of people in it, probably closer to my age, and yeah, I think this will be a fun one. And then the one I'm most excited about, and the one I'm going to choose to read, is the third book in the Broken Blades series, Three Shattered Souls. I have been loving this series by Maya Corland, and you can see there are the edges. And when you put the three books together, it does make a scene. So yeah, very excited to read this. And here's the rest of the book. A pretty gold foiling. And really pretty end pages. And the same on the back. So I absolutely can't wait to dive into this one. If you're not familiar with the Broken Blades series, it is based on Korean folklore very loosely, and we're following 5 different liars throughout the series. One who is a thief, one who is an exiled prince, one who is a spy master, one who is a poison master, and one who is a strong man. One of my favorite characters in the series' name is Ari. She is the thief, and she is quirky and full of life, and just, you know, a breath of fresh air as far as personalities go. And in the first book, these 5 strangers were of questionable background were brought together to try to kill the God King, because, you know, he's just not a very good king, he's not a very nice person. And the people of the land are ready for a change. So they came together to try to get rid of him. I won't really tell you what happens. But then in the second book, this same group of characters moves on to try to get this certain ring from the God King's sister, who is a queen of another realm. There's relics in the land that have different magical powers, and this ring is one of those relics. So they go off to try to get that. And then things happen in that book, as they do, and now we're on to the third and final book. I can't wait to see what happens in it. We do end up in the 4th book, we lose one of our main characters, so I'm interested to see in this one if we lose anyone else. Hopefully everyone makes it to the end and we get our happy ending, but we shall see. So can't wait to pick this up later tonight. And then, as you know, this week, oh goodness, I am using a random number generator to pick how many pages I'm reading each day. So for today, we'll see. I have it set for a range of 50 to 200. because I figured 50, you know, I didn't want like 10 pages or something like that. I wanted a good chunk to read each day, and 200 during the work week is kind of my max, unless I want to torture myself and get no sleep at night. So 50 to 200 is the range, so let's go ahead and see. Not bad today. 54 is how many pages I need to read. So I should be able to do that pretty easily. I love, like I said, I love this series, so I'm probably gonna fly through it pretty quickly this week. And yeah, I'm just gonna cozy up on the couch here and start reading. So I'm 30 pages in so far, and it's great, which I knew it would be. It started off with a bang. One of the things I love about this book is just the banter and the dialogue and just how the characters come across as actually being people. So it starts off with a chapter for Royo. You get everyone's point of view, so the chapters are typically on the shorter side, but I like that because then you're fully immersed into whatever is happening at the time because you're seeing so many things from so many different perspectives. But the start to the book is Royo's chapter, and it says, "We're really fucked." That's how it starts, which I know, language, but Royo is the strong man, so it's, you know, kind of fitting with his vibe that that's how he would speak. But yeah, that's how it starts off, which is pretty accurate. The last book ended with them being in kind of an epic battle with these relics, and they ended up on the run. And so it's picking up right after that, basically. A little time has passed. I think maybe either a few days or maybe a couple of weeks, but it's pretty close to when the last book ended. So yeah, loving it. I always love the banter. I always love the different points of view, and just how you get everyone's perspective, everyone's emotions, and their take on the situation. So yeah, I've made it 30 pages in of my, how many did I have? 57 or something. I'm sure I will read more than that tonight, but that's kind of where I am right now. 54 was the magic number. So I'm probably gonna get showered, ready for bed, all those kind of things, and then continue reading, and I'll give you another update in the morning. Alright guys, so it is time for another reading update for Three Shattered Souls by Maya Corland. And as I had said last night when I talked to you last, I'm absolutely loving it. It's still, just like the other books, it's still moving really fast. We're getting all the different points of view. They're definitely more in a stressed out state, all of our different characters, as were in this last book. All four of them at this point, have, you know, just went through so much emotionally and physically that it is definitely starting to take its toll. But we're starting to see all the different threads and plot points weave together as we move towards the finale. And so I am about a quarter of the way through. And no disappointment at this point. I can't really say too much about it because that would definitely give the plot of the book away. It is moving more towards like a succession battle at this point, which we've always been building up to. We had some of that in the first book and, you know, a little bit more in the second book, but it's really kind of coming to its tipping point here in the third book. So I am very interested to see who in the end of this is the one who ends up being on the throne. When we get to the end, is it going to be one of our original 5 characters, or is it going to be one of the current nobility? It will definitely be interesting to see. Like I said, we have 4 of our original 5 still kind of alive at this point. I'm hoping they all make it to the end. I am worried that that won't be the case, but time will tell. And then as far as how much I'm going to read today, we need to do our random number generator. And today I need to read 109 pages. So that's about what I typically read each day anyway, so I am quite sure that that won't be a problem. But for now, I am going to get out of my work clothes and into some comfy clothes. I'm going to get Luna a walk-in, and then I will check back in with you guys later when I start reading for the night. Hey everyone, it is now Thursday, and you'll have to excuse this. Today is a work from home day for me, and I didn't have it in me to put on makeup, and therefore my dark circles are showing very badly today, as it's been a long week. But reading updates. So I am still loving 3 Shattered Souls. Yesterday's number generator said I was to read 109 pages, and I did do that. So we were on like page 119, and now I am on page 249, and the plot is definitely plotting now. There's been a whole bunch of reveals. There's still twists and turns coming. We're still getting additional kind of plot lines and things happening, and our characters at this point have just taken a beating. So I'm a little over halfway through. So if it's this busy right now and moving this fast, I can't wait to see what happens in the last couple hundred pages. That's usually where things really pick up and start moving. So since it's already progressing pretty quick, as I said, the plot is plotting for sure, that I'm sure the end is going to be amazing as well. And then for today, we are going to need to read 145 pages, which that one may be a little bit of stretch, just because I do have some things going on this evening. I've been taking hot Pilates classes a couple times a week, trying to, you know, just improve my fitness, all that. And I have a class at 5:30, and I am usually pretty dead afterwards. Plus I still need to get my steps in for the day and just, you know, do other household kind of stuff before I sit down to read. But we will do our best to make it through those 145 pages. And then, as far as my audiobook, which we're not including in my pages read per day, but I am still listening to The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen, and it's still going pretty good. I wouldn't say it's a great book, but it is definitely on the would recommend scale. I would say right now I'm probably at a 3.5 to 3.75. It's something I can easily listen to while I'm at work or walking Luna. That's because it's not too involved, so that's been nice. But we have reached a point in this story where Laura, who is our female main character, she's kind of coming to see that everything she was taught about how horrible Ithacania was and its people were is not true. But she still, for whatever reason, feels like she needs to, you know, feed her father information on Ithacania, so that he can invade them because it will save her people. I still don't think that's the truth of the matter, but she's at least willing to recognize the fact that everything she's been taught may not have been true, but it is somewhat irritating that she's still basically going to try to sabotage, you know, this man she's come to care for in the King Aaron and his people, because, you know, she feels this misguided obligation, not necessarily misguided for wanting to help out her people from her home country, but more misguided, and she's still going along with what her father said needed to happen. So that part is irritating, but that's a problem I have with a lot of romanticies. But that being said, overall pretty good. I think I have like 4 hours left in it. And I probably, at least at this point, would say I would continue with the series. We'll see if that stays true. But yeah, so that's kind of all of my reading updates. And then I will catch back up with you all later after I do some actual reading. Alright guys, I am back to update you on 3 Shattered Souls. I didn't check back in with you last night more than the little clip I have of me with my foot up because I had an unfortunate incident as I was leaving my Pilates class where my ankle rolled in a pothole. And yeah, I wasn't moving around very much last night, but I will say I did at least get to read a lot of my book. So that part was good. I just, at this point, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera or not, but I have a large goose egg on my ankle. So that's fun. But as I said, wanted to give you a final update on this. This book was amazing. There was many tears shed at the end, and it is definitely a 5-star read. 10 out of 10 for the series. Loved it. Maya Corlin's writing is so good, and just the emotion that she makes you feel and the way she made you invest in these characters is just unbelievable. And I'm kind of tearing up even just thinking about it. It was just a really good book. The ending was beautiful, but very sad. So I won't go into much detail because I don't want to spoil it for you. But if you like well thought out plots with strong characters, lots of point of views, this would be a great series for you. I have to say, this has become one of my favorites of all time. And it's not a traditional fantasy. It's out of the spectrum kind of what I usually read, but it was just so good. And I can't say enough good things about it. Just go read the series. You will not be disappointed. First book was amazing. Second book, I would say I didn't enjoy as much as the first, but it was still a 4.5 star for me. So still a great book. And then this one, showstopper. If I could give it 6 stars, I would, but loved it. Even the heartbreaking portions of it were beautiful. So highly recommend. Definitely give it a try. You won't regret it. And this is where I'm going to end it for this week's reading vlog. I'm not going to be moving around a whole ton, so since we finished the book, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But thank you so much for being here. Take care, keep reading, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.